Welcome back to the Share It All podcast. I'm here, your loving, growing coach, Joy, the growth coach, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Ayyub.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Ayyub, nice to meet you.
So, Ayyub, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
24 years old, young black entrepreneur. Uh, I'm really just trying to exceed in life and exceed expectations. Be the one who breaks generational curses, right? Um, and just be an all around complete black man. Uh, that's it.
Okay. So, we'll get into a little bit about how I met Ayyub. I got some questions for you, and we got a few topics we're definitely going to talk about with y'all. So, let's get into it. So, Ayyub, how do you think we met? Let's see if you actually remember.
I think I do. We met at King
Mm-hmm.
where we went to school. It was a program, right? No, we
Yes.
met at a program, and that's how we met. It was at a program. I was like, "You have pretty eyes." Is that
Yes, that was actually the comment you made, which
okay?
is funny.
If y'all do is I don't know if you guys do the whole
Zoom in and
yeah
focus.
on
Well,
the
yes, I do
if
have
we
hazel
zoom in
olive
you can see.
eyes
Yep,
and whatnot. But you came after you came with that compliment, you came with a slick compliment after.
I'm listening.
And then after that, since then, he's always been like a snarky remark person, always been my main person to debate with on anything and everything. And that's how we've developed a friendship.
Fair,
Fair? Oh,
fair to say.
that's the first time I get an actual agreement, guys. But yeah, you're a great friend to have. And, I appreciate you coming on to the podcast.
I appreciate you bringing me on the podcast. I honestly do. I mean, it's my first pod. Wait, this is like my first real podcast. So let's make sure we get some views, we get some watches, and advocate for Black youth. That's really what this we here for.
Yes. And guys, also, if you don't know, Ayyub, you have a business. So do you want to shout your business?
We can move to. Let's start with let's keep it on agenda. We gonna cover business. We gonna
Okay.
get there.
Okay. And guys, if you're wondering why he has on shades, why are you wearing shades today?
Um, we got on shades. That's it. It's a good. It's
You
a
trying to be
shade.
shady today?
It's a shady day.
It's a shady
I
day.
might throw some shade here and there. A
Oh.
little bit of
Oh,
shade.
okay. So we're throwing shade. As you can see my eyes clearly, but he's not tinting down or anything for y'all. Y'all getting the shadiness.
Might be a little drop of shade, but we gonna
Ooh.
see when we get there. Let's keep watching.
Oh. Okay. All right. So what's your definition of mindfulness?
Mindfulness. What I would define mindfulness as being like fully there. Like a person being fully there in their mind and being aware of like a present moment. And that moment can just be like, knowing the right thing to do or knowing the right thing to say or just knowing like the whereabouts, like being present. Oh, sorry. Being present enough to know how to respond to whatever is thrown at you.
Okay. I'm gonna give you the definition, but you're actually not off. You're actually on topic. Mindfulness is a state of being present within the moment through practice of self meditation and self awareness. That's my
Yep.
definition that I like to give out to individuals. And do you think there's a do you have your own definition of self awareness, or do you think they're the same thing?
Self awareness and mindfulness definitely piggyback each other. Like being self aware is it's not exactly being mindful, but being self aware at least is being aware of like yourself, your surroundings, and again reacting to whatever is thrown at you, and knowing how you'll react. Really, knowing yourself.
Okay. So do you think there's like a distinction between the two, or do you think they're the same thing at all?
A small distinction, yeah, but I mean they're pretty similar to me, at least.
Okay. How do you practice mindfulness within your life?
Um, I okay, and this may sound, me. I have controversial points about
Go
a lot.
ahead.
So I feel like I know myself in and out. Um, I don't feel like meditating. I do meditate, but not like how people meditate, where you like close your eyes and like I'll do things like a walk, or go to the beach, get fresh air, like, and just look in the sky. It helps me like come to realization that I'm alive, like I'm a person, I'm a being on this earth. And I think that's like my number one way of practicing that, really just knowing like I'm a real life person here. Like I'm not like anyone like above being a real person or anything less than that.
Okay, okay. So you don't ever really do like the whole meditation or just like really sitting within your thoughts and just like really trying to clear it out.
Nah, not really. No, I wouldn't say that. I feel like maybe if I had more time to do that, like I don't make time for that and I don't want to. Like I'm good. So like
Why do you think it's not important though?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying everyone's different, you know. Some people it helps, but with me, like I said, fresh air, walks, knowing that I'm just a being on this earth helps me. It brings me to realization with things. Like when I just go to the beach and gaze out into the water and the sand, it's like I'm literally just a being on this earth. Like I'm not anyone above it, anyone below it. Like everybody's different. And that's just how like when I look into the beach, like in the sky, I see that I'm a being, and I feel like that helps me realize like that brings me down from a lot of things. I feel like we get in our heads about a lot of different things, especially like being like the biggest and the best or the baddest, and it's like humbling yourself to just realize that you're just another being on this earth is like my best way of just like, all right, everybody goes through problems, everybody has problems. Like one day you're here, one day you're gone, and that's like my way of meditating. Just fresh air. I'm realizing like, yo, you're just another being. That's and when we talk about when we get to mental health, you're gonna see like that's my thing. Right.
Okay.
hmm
Okay. So how do you practice self accountability in your life and how do you hold others accountable as well?
Accountability is one of like the biggest things I advocate for. Like I'm it's funny at my personal, right? At my restaurant, right? We have like young girls who won't do what, you know, their job entails. And then you go to hold them accountable and now you're a snitch, right? You're a
Mhm.
rat. Like they're just so like I like people are just so like not well versed on accountability. It's like scary.
I agree with you. And I definitely agree. I think we got to a culture where like accountability is what's the best word? It's like a nuance. It's definitely like a nuance. Like we've gotten so used to, oh, okay, letting it slide. Like they don't know the definition from right from wrong. And I find that now, like you have content creators or people coming out and saying, no, this is wrong. And now they're getting chastised and criticized for saying what is right and then what is actually wrong.
Right. And it's accountability is important, you know. Me myself, if I realize I'm wrong in any situation, I'm gonna be accountable. Obviously, there are situations where people know that legal counsel is best, so they're gonna plead not guilty right away. So in those situations, like you know, do is gonna protect you and your family. But any other thing, like if it's something that you know you could be accountable with, bro, be accountable. Like be accountable. It's important, and it gives you that sense of integrity. Like other people are gonna look at you as like that you have integrity, you know, and
Mm,
you that's the reputation you want to carry. Be
mm.
accountable.
So how do you want people in your life, like your friends, your family, to hold you accountable?
Being vocal. I love when I love being challenged and I love challenging. So it's like um you know if you're doing something wrong or you're not doing something as you should, you know, be vocal about it. And I hear this all the time because this is something that I'm bad at. But there's a way you say something, right? I think you've said this to me multiple
Oh,
times.
oh, as long as you know, go ahead.
It's the way you say it, not really what you say, but the way you say it.
Mhm.
Me, I suck at you know the delivery. The message is good and the intent is very good, but the delivery on my part sucks. So I would say be vocal, but try your best to deliver better. You know,
I
like
definitely agree. Um, since we've been friends for now, what I think about like 3, 4 years, when he's very blunt, and there's nothing wrong with being blunt. Like, let me put that out there. However, there's a type of blunt that you were that hurts feeling.
that I am. It's not word. It's still here. Sadly,
Well, we still need to work on it then.
honestly,
That you need to be mindful of how people are gonna perceive it.
right.
They're not really in your mind. and
Right.
they're not going to be able to say, okay, like he's really just saying this for my best interest at heart. No, a lot of people can be like, he's saying this to hurt me. And when you're trying to really just help somebody, you have to make sure that you're thinking about how they perceive this first, because there are trigger words for everybody,
Right.
right? And sometimes we don't know each other's trigger words. So ensuring that whatever you're saying is maybe the first sentence that I always suggest people to say is, I'm saying this with love, right? Or I'm saying this not with the intention of hurting you, but to bring your awareness to it, to the subject, and then go into what the issue is. Because once you make that depiction out first, they're more likely to hear you. And then you could follow up at the end, like, I'm only saying this because this is what I felt, or this is how it looked, and it wasn't good. And I don't believe that's personally your character, but I believe that was action that was portrayed. So, I mean, we got a lot of work to do with him, but it's okay. He getting better. He's gotten a lot better, because Lord knows. But
And it circles back to accountability. Like, I know for a fact some of the things that I don't do right, like that. I try to change it, but sometimes it's like, yo, I gotta let you hear this. Like, and I'll tell you, even after or before, I don't mean this with ill intent. I don't mean this to hurt you. I don't mean this to, but this is what it has to be, and this is what you have to do, and this is what you're doing wrong. And that's,
yeah.
but we can move to the next topic. I'm sorry.
Oh, excuse me. You gonna run my
No, no, please.
show? Oh, okay. So, guys, I have a list of questions that I put together for him. Um, how is instant gratification? That's one of the questions I ask everybody. How's instant gratification affected this current generation, and how do you think, because of the negative effects or the positive effects, if we don't change it, what do you think is gonna happen?
I like this question because it's how, and it's not a do you think instant gratification. It's like how has it, because it has um anytime you get a like, a comment, follow, you get a flow of dopamine. Like you get
Mm-hmm.
excited. You're like, ooh, who's this? What's that? Instant gratification is like it's gonna be like, and that's the thing. Yeah, it has some positives. It does, but it's gonna be the killer of it's killing a lot of young ladies for like with mental health, like it really is, and even men, because like we see that it really it holds no, or it holds everyone to a very high standard, and it takes off, like it takes what's the term, it takes no prisoners or it takes all prisoners, something. It just, it has no no one's off limits is what I want to
I
say.
agree.
No one's off limits. So that instant gratification, like wanting to be like the girl or the man, head honcho, or the baddest John, as people would say, like it's hurting us as a culture, and I think Black culture is hurting us even more than anyone else, because it's like we as a culture really gravitate towards like instant gratification, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, even Facebook, like, and it's something that has to be like addressed moving forward with generations, and people have to start teaching their kids that this is the internet. I think once people make this clear distinction that, yo, this is just the internet, not real life, it's gonna help a lot of people out. But a lot of people are interpreting it as real life.
I agree. I think for our generation, we lived through social media
Yep.
because we grew up, for one, we grew up when there was no social media, and like how it wasn't like, there. But then as we got older, we had AIM, we had MySpace, we watched Facebook blow up. Now there's Instagram, and there's so many different platforms out that like you feel like you want to be gravitated towards every single last thing to be popular. And it's great to want to be popular, but it's being popular for the right reasons.
Right.
And I think that our generation and all generations are starting to forget that. Like when you want to be popular for a cause, that's cool. But remember the price you're gonna have to pay when that happens. Like a lot of people are selling their souls and selling a dream that's so far from reality. Um, so it's disheartening to see. And you know what? Another thing, I was watching Iman Shumpert say this the other day. Because I think it was on the Shade Room. He was like, "Oh, um, girls come out in lingerie and all this and a third all the time," and he's like, "Well, guys are desensitized to it," and he's like, "We don't care for it and whatnot because when we're so used to seeing it on our news feeds every single day, your boobs is out or." Everything is flowing wherever it's supposed to be flowing, and it's not like saved for the bedroom. It's you don't even care for it when your girl does it. It's just like, I'm used to seeing you like this when we go out the house. So it's like then it's like dag, like you kind of ruin it for your own self and your own relationship at that point.
Yeah. And then there's always the other argument of body positivity and embracing yourself. And so you could see you know man or woman, anybody, you could wear toilet paper across
Mm-hmm.
your chest, right? And that's it. That could be your outfit. And you'll have one side saying, this person has to respect themselves, but then you'll have another side that's saying this person is embracing themselves, they love themselves, like love them, let them be them. So it's always going to be a hard topic to really discuss or tackle in a way of like right or wrong. But I mean, you do raise points where you say when you're seeing something so often, you get desensitized, just like murder. Like we see murder now on, oh, I'm sorry, we see murder now on our IG and Twitters, and it's like now it's just like, all right, I see somebody die. We see it on our TV screens too. We see a black man shot, like, and
Nobody
nobody.
thinks it's anything to like make noise about. I'm like,
We
it's
just,
wrong.
yeah, we just looking. We're just, it's just being desensitized and normalized. So you're right.
Yeah. And what I've noticed, if you look into so many studies about Instagram and whatnot, which they're trying to, do something about, is that everybody's dopamine levels are so high. Like, and nobody knows how to be stable and have stable serotonin levels. And it does affect with their mindsets. It affects with like, the impatience of a person. Like so many people are so rushing to their phone every single day. I always tell typically my clients or like anybody that I'm friends with, try and have the first hour of your day to yourself. Don't try and talk to anybody on the phone. Like if you live by yourself, don't try and give your attention to anybody. If it's your dog, then that's different, or if you have kids, that's different. But really try and zone it and having that maybe the first 30 minutes or the first hour of your day to yourself, because once you start giving it to everybody else out there, you affect your peace, you affect how you're going to walk and maneuver within the world every single day. So if you are in constantly at war within your mind, how can you expect to be at a, be your best self when you have to go to war with people every for what 20 hours a day or 16 hours a day.
Right.
So it's sad that that happens, but it is what it is. So let's jump into it, to the other fun questions that I have for you. So do you have a business, and if so, tell us.
Yes. I do have a business, and I'm so excited to share this with you guys.
After a long time.
However, before I get into that, I do want to tackle two things business. Make it real quick. One, we gotta keep supporting black businesses. Anytime you see a flaw or anything wrong in a black business, correct it privately. Until you then have to correct it publicly. But definitely keep supporting black businesses. In America, we're still last, and we're still last in receiving funding. So it's so important that we keep supporting each other so that we can again break generational curses, and just be leaders in our communities, have and take over cities, and just have black leaders in venture capital firms, banks, hedge funds. Like we just have to have more um, black leaders. So definitely keep supporting black businesses. It's important. Next, I want to say, speaking of businesses, um, this is some shade that I'm gonna throw.
Oh god.
Yeah. I'm mad now. Right now, what's going on is it's a trend to now expose and downplay IML Academy. Like, I want to say this. I was
Oh
one of the
god.
first. I was actually talking to my frat brothers about this today.
Oh
I
lord.
was one of the first publicly saying how this company is a scam, IML. And no, this is not a black business. Yes, they go after minorities, obviously, because it's an MLM. That's typically what these do, go after minorities because they bring a huge, you know, they bring huge crowds because they have lots of friends, lots of families, just to typically manipulate them. But now that it's a huge fad, I'm annoyed because I was one of the first to do it. Now everybody's doing it. People could becoming famous from doing it. I could have been famous. IML is a big scam. 90% of money's from recruitment. So, my black and brown listeners, please, please, please stay away from companies like that try to say this is the product, but literally you're only moving up by recruiting. Stay away from that. Okay. Okay. Moving to my business. Yes, I do have a business that I'm very excited to talk about. My business name is SecurT. What SecurT is it's the first security solution for every American to use. Unfortunately, when we start, it will only be able to be used in about New Jersey, just New Jersey at first. But what SecurT is it's a on-demand mobile application where anyone can hire a watchman services to implement a watchman service. That service, the watchman watches whatever listing is posted. He's paid and then he goes on his way. If you think of TaskRabbit, Uber, Airbnb, DoorDash, those are like how you can kind of think of it as a on-demand service. And I know many of you are like, "Oh, what is a watchman?" Right? A watchman is like a person who watches and reports. Right? That's it. It's hands off. It's not like actual security, but this is a hands off service. And we have the app on our phones right now, just me and my few partners. And we're almost at our beta launch. It's coming in days, if not weeks, if not days. And we're so excited. Anyone interested in either becoming a watchman or being a partner,
You can put the link in. I'll put the link in the description for you guys.
please. This is something we've been working on for a very long time, and it's coming into fruition. And we're definitely gonna offer and deliver a promising service. Literally a service that um is a solution to hiring or contracting security guards. That's what we're moving to. We want to literally protect people at a more affordable rate. So definitely get with us. And this is just innovation at its finest.
So, what made you and your partner start that business, and what was the idea like around it?
So one day I used to work at a restaurant, um, and they would have security they would have bouncers throughout the restaurant every Friday and Saturday because it would be like parties. And one day, two of the security guys couldn't make it. Like they couldn't make it. We knew by at 6 o'clock, right, that they couldn't make it. And the parties usually start around like 10. So I'm like, there's no way you can just hire security like that. And I'm thinking like, I guess there's like Thumbtack, right? That app, but like the way you do that, it's Thumbtack is all over the place. Like it's tailored to so many different services. You can hire painters on it, farmers or builders. Like there's no set just bouncer person. So I'm
Mhm.
like, that needs to be here. Like we need that in New Jersey. New Jersey has so many things where you could just have a doorman, somebody at the door, somebody at your house, just like observing and watching. If you're on your way home, like say you're a single young lady, you live in an apartment, and you think you're leaving a club, you could be being followed. You want to order a watchman real quick to just be sitting in front of your house when you get there. He's just watching for the next hour. You could walk in, he's watching for another hour, and then he goes about his day. Like this service is needed. Like it's something that is really gonna change the landscape of communities. Is gonna put money in people's pockets as far as like watchmen, and it's really just all around gonna really help people. So we saw that need with my restaurant, and from there I just been tackling it since like 2018, and now we're here about to launch on our beta. We have registered watchmen already. We have accounts ready. We're just readying up.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that. I've known about this project that you've been having for a while. And, it's great to see another Black business like bringing it into fruition. So
Yes,
I wish you all the best and success.
thank you.
And like I said, if anybody's interested in it, I will leave the link in the description to where you can find the app and how you can become a watchman in the description below.
One thing, please join. We keep pushing this. Please join our wait list. The wait list, all you're receiving, I'm sorry, is emails, updates about the beta, and just the onboarding process of becoming a watchman, some of the training you have to go through. And that's pretty much it. But we're not spamming your emails, we're not using your information. We're literally just updating you on where we are. We want you to be a part of this journey, especially people around the community of New Jersey. Like this is in New Jersey. This is made by Jersey. So please join our wait list.
Of course. So, what are some financial information you wish you could have known when it came to your childhood and as it relates to business in general?
Man, funding. I wish I would have. It's so many things. It's really so many things. Um, I wish I would have known how to receive funding for business ideas. The information I know now. I wish I would have known how to even establish a business like in high school. What's dope is my position that I'm taking in the next few weeks. I'm literally teaching um like 18-year-olds how to start a business or how to receive funding,
That's amazing.
and things, financial literacy, knowing where and how to invest, taxes. So I cannot wait. But this is stuff I wish I knew when I was 18. I did
Yeah.
not know any of this at 18, and I'm so happy I'm able to teach this to people that are 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah. Especially within African American or people of color communities, that's not something like you have to learn. You typically have to go to college for that. Or if your family like owns a business, but doesn't mean that they're doing business correctly. Or you have to, go to a class and sometimes typically pay to learn how to like do business. Now, me, luckily, when I started my business prior, I went through the New Jersey Small Business
Yep.
Association. And I'm fortunate enough to, some of their services were free and I was able to learn that wise, but not every community has the ability to learn that and have access to that information. So it's great that now I see a lot of young entrepreneurs learning how to create a business. They have like parents teaching them, or they have people like you that are willing to, teach them during high school or maybe early college, because sometimes at the end of the day, not everybody's meant to go to college to learn about business. So if you can teach your child in any shape, way, or form, they want to start a business and start their dream, do so. They don't have to go to college to do that. Find the resources that are free in your community, um, so they can be the best versions of themselves and best entrepreneurs out there. Because you don't want them to be like us, where we had to sometimes learn the hard way and make so many financial mistakes and putting themselves through debt.
Yep. Definitely. If you go to college, please, please, please go to your small business, your SBA department. They'll help you. They've been a great tool for me. So,
No shade at Keem, but however, Keene had one, and every single time I went there, they were non-existent.
did you make appointments? Because they helped me out. They gave me the information. Well, all right. I don't want to say they helped me out, but they helped me distinct, because knowing the business entity you're going for is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a painter and you don't think like you need, like, you're gonna either I'm sorry, um paint someone's house wrong, or you're not gonna be like in any way like liable for some type of damage, do a sole proprietorship, right? So that the amount of taxes that come out aren't crazy. And then there's like, but the only bad part about sole proprietorship is that with liability, you are your business. So um if you do something wrong, they can come for your assets.
Mm-hmm.
Where as an LLC it distincts, because in the LLC your business is its own. You feel me? If a person sues your LLC, that's all they can sue. They can't come after what you owned before your LLC, or assets you have that aren't attached to that. So like, I feel like that's where the SBA helped me, knowing my business entities, knowing like distinct in those, and corporations, and all that. But other than that, yeah, I guess they're not all
I
that,
went
right?
through the SBA through, I think it was NJCU.
Oh, not Keen.
No,
Okay.
because when I went on their website, I couldn't find like I would go to the office, they were never there. I
You,
would call them, they were never there.
yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna find the closest one, and NJCU was the closest one after.
Okay.
So that's how like I went to all the classes in Kearney and things like that.
Got you.
And that's how I found like my mentor that helped me formulate my business. But yeah. How does your mental state play a major role in business like decisions? And why do you think that's so important that, entrepreneurs put first?
Gotta be level headed. The only way to make a right decision is not, using emotions first. Obviously, it's good to keep your emotions alive. Like you don't want to be a person who's emotionless, which is a lot of head honchos and corporations, right? They put their emotions completely to the side. Like you have to have some. You have to again realize that you're a human being, but with your mental state, like you have to be level headed, and you gotta have like good mental awareness, like to run or operate any business. Period.
I definitely agree. I noticed that when you something I wish people would understand is taking on and being a entrepreneur requires a lot of mental work behind the scenes. Like there are times that you could put yourself on a schedule that you're so used to doing, waking up at 7 o'clock and being done by 3 o'clock if you work maybe for a school, whatever. With a business, you are that business 24 hours, 7 days a week,
Yep.
365 days a year until you get your business to a certain capacity where you can start leveling the reins back and putting the responsibility on other people. And that's something even 2 years in for my business, I'm still learning to this day. Like, I'm joyful on this project when I sleep, I'm joyful on this project when I wake up, and I'm always thinking about what is the next move, what is the next hedgeway, what is the next conversation I need to keep having with individuals, and the next content that I need to keep making, because at the end of the day it is important to think about these things and making sure that you're in the mental health state to be able to help somebody else, because you are your customer service
Right.
and you are your customer experience as well,
Right.
and you can't lead other individuals if you're not mentally good as well. As people actually, they will they go off your energy, and if you're bringing out negative energy, they are the negative energy.
That's another reason why to surround yourself with people who keep your mental space good. That's why I'm so fortunate for my partners, 'cause they just are positive influences in my life, and they like if- definitely have their mental capacity intact. That's
Yeah.
important.
But yes, for anybody that is a business owner at all, or thinking about getting into business, or an entrepreneur or a sole proprietor or whatever, make sure that you are always showing up as your best self. And if you feel like you can't show up as your best self, be honest with your customers. Be honest with, the people that you are engaging with, because they care about that vulnerability as well. Because they will take you and say, you know what? It's okay that you're not at your best. Maybe I'll book you another day, or maybe, you come back to me when you are at your best, because people don't want bad customer service. They don't want that bad customer experience, because then that's attack on your business, and you're less likely to want that person to come back to you continuously as well. And then they leave bad reviews. I've seen that.
Yep.
So, um, what are your projections of how business is going to thrive in the next few years, especially within Black culture?
Um, Realistically, so the economy itself in America is gonna take a big tank soon. I can't really say how soon, but soon, like really soon, maybe even after summer. And I think one of the reasons is due to inflation. Like when the government is just printing out money like that, giving people money, prices is rising. Prices are rising. Prices are rising. Prices are rising. And since they kept the interest rates nice and low, which is very helpful, those interest rates, I'm sorry, are gonna begin to go up, and prices are still gonna go up.
And
Um,
people aren't going to be able to pay back those loans and
People
things.
aren't gonna be able to pay anything because the price of everything is gonna be so damn high. So the economy is gonna take a huge dip soon. And please, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not me giving
Just your advice.
financial advice. This is just my from what I'm an economic student slash finance student, so this is my interpretation. So just be careful. And that's really all I want to say about that. I think in the next long term, uh yeah, black businesses are gonna be amazingly high. We have a lot of newer entrepreneurs who are and firms who are really wanting to give money to a lot of black businesses, like black restaurants, especially in like popular cities, are getting good money and having good business. And then a lot of artists are starting like businesses because some of these artists are making really good money. So
They're
it
very, very talented too.
put people are because of YouTube, free education. People are learning a lot of things that society didn't know 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Like, so I think the black community is on a great path right now. Definitely. I just wish we some more black people could expand west,
Yeah.
and other states. It may sound crazy, but like Nebraska, Wyoming, Oregon, Utah, like we need to get some land out there, and we need to start doing some things out there. Maybe start buying some farms. Some of these rappers invest in some of these farm companies, man. Take a farm over, like we gotta. We're gonna be all right though. Black community is doing good in the next 10 years. Great.
So now we're getting on to the fun nitty gritty. I think that everybody's gonna be definitely looking forward to
Let's get into it.
relationships and modern dating. So I reached out to IU the other day, and I was watching something on YouTube or on Instagram because I don't want to say I'm a stan for Kevin Samuels because not everything I agree with that he says. However, he does have some valid points. So does Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews, Fresh and Fit Podcast, Mike Rashad, and I can keep going down a list of, people that are at really in that manosphere. And it took me a while to be woken up as a female and realize, some of the actions in which I'm doing when it comes to dating and things like that and how it is affecting my relationship and how I might view men. So I I wanted to create this segment of our podcast because I come from a single parent household and Ayyub comes from a two-parent household. And I thought it would be great to see the differences on when it comes to relationships. So the question that I really had for Ayyub was, why doesn't modern dating know what healthy relationships look like? So I definitely want to dive into that now. But what is your view on why do you think we don't value healthy relationships?
It's many factors, but I'll just tackle the two. The first is like exposing the real. Like the last years before this, we didn't have the actual like real life scripts of what people really went through in their relationships, honestly,
Yeah.
or what most women just put up with, or even what some men put up with, just to keep the either whatever income has to come in, or whatever circumstances have to come in to better the lives of their kids. So I think not shedding light on that is one thing, and then shedding light on it is another. Like social media is telling people like there's so many options you have, and it's showing people in these glorious ways. Like it's like saying this is a low quality woman or a low quality man, you could do this, you could do that. It's like social media is definitely like one of the things that are like really.
Inhibiting relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
And I definitely agree with everything that you said. I think that women have just gotten so used to hearing that they can have it all, and or everybody's hearing they can have it all. When the sad reality is you cannot have it all. There's going to come to a point in time where you're going to have to choose
All right.
something, and you're going to try and have that's why they have to coin the phrase, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
You
And
cannot.
a lot of people believe they can, but the unfortunate truth is that you really, really can as much as you want to. But
It's
go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you. And the sad part is money goes into that sometimes. You make a lot of money, you honestly can have your cake, an extra cake on the side, some other cake for later, cake for next week. You
Yeah,
can
but it
have all the
comes
cake.
back with a price though.
You're right, it does. So, but I'm not the type like I don't, especially not 24 years old. I don't want my cake and other cake too. Like
I mean, you might think differently if your app takes off and then 10 years down the
head
line.
honcho, big
Yeah,
boss.
like a lot of men, their views change, and it's
Yeah.
but do you think there is a such thing that modern women and modern men actually know what healthy relationships look like? Because I hate to say that they praise toxicity now. So,
Yeah.
coming from a two-parent household, do you think that modern women know how to have a healthy relationship?
Yeah, modern women do and modern men do. It's just the majority, and it's sad to say, but the majority of the black community, um, unfortunately, we and this isn't our fault. It's really not. Like if we're pointing the finger, it's really from like years and years of oppression and racial discrimination and just policies set up to literally put black people at a disadvantage. But because of these policies and having households torn up, we're so used to a household being torn that that's literally what we know. Like it's cultures of that in our community. So it's like it's gonna take time to rebuild that, but we have to start realizing that you know, I mean, it's it's hard to say because it's two things you got to realize. It's important to stick it out with one person, right? Start a family, raise a family, and keep going. But it's also important to know your worth, know what you mean, and know when to get out of a situation. And I feel like because society tells us that this and that, do this and that, we think sometimes we gotta hop out when we don't, or we gotta hop in when we do, or when we don't. Like it's just it's so much it's toxic, honestly.
Well, how has relationships and dating been for you as, a young man that's coming up and thriving, college educated? Has it been easy for you?
I think dating itself is easy in society, period now. Like, um you could go on Instagram and like two pictures. If they like a picture back, y'all, that's something right there. Or these, these dumb dating apps. I don't want to say they're dumb, but some people use them. Personal experience, I could say like, and this is where I don't even know if it's toxic. And this is my personal experience. I don't know if anybody else is like recently or not. I don't want to say recently, but um my last relationship, like my ex told me that she can't give me what I deserve and that she needs to find herself. Like hearing that from a woman as a man, it's like what? Like you're just like, son, like you start to wonder like what is the real? Like what is the real thing that you're getting at? Like what are you really getting at? But I mean, it could be that, some people really just need that time. Some people are going through crisis, or some people are just gaslighting. That's a big thing nowadays. Manipulation tactic to just gaslight. So um it's really for a person to really distinct
Toxicity.
toxicity. There we go. Um, you you just it's all about really how you're raised, honestly. That's one thing, and just knowing your worth. And if you have that like awareness, that self awareness, and you were raised right, you're gonna know when and how to get out of whatever situation you need to get out of.
Okay.
But dating for me, like anybody, like dating in 2021 is just I feel like it's fairly like simple, especially if you know
You
yourself.
believe it's simple, really?
I think if you're a good person and you're well aware of yourself and well aware of how you should be treated and what you and you're honest, right? You and a person know what you are both trying to do with and for each other, then dating is definitely successful. But if you're manipulating and you're not being straightforward, you're gonna run into issues, and that's just that.
I want to disagree with you.
Okay.
And I'm going to disagree because, for one, recently, I'm going to tell you a funny story. So, I was called a pick me. Do you know what a pick me is?
Anytime you support anything that a heterosexual man says is you can be a pick me.
Yes.
Gotta be
Okay.
careful.
So, recently, I saw this video on called this page called Now This Is Her. And it was about a woman that went on a date. A woman that went on a date with a man, and he asked her, "Oh, please don't come like in like witchcraft like stuff." And now, granted, I don't know what her page looked like prior on Tinder. She met this guy on Tinder and whatnot. And he's like, "Oh, please don't come like this, like come in a dress or come like whatever." And She said, "Oh, you want me to dress like this? Okay." Instead, she did the total opposite. She dressed goth, like had on the black makeup, came in whatever. And yeah. So when she showed up to the date to Panera and whatnot, he did not get out the car because he's like, I had one simple thing for you to just do, which is to come dressed like this. Like, why did you have to come like that? Now, mind you, the thing is that I said it's a simple respect factor. And it's not like he's telling her what to do, what to say, how to act or anything. It's just more so we don't know, for one, we don't know exactly what her pictures looked like. She could have had 4 pictures of her dressing nice and feminine, and then she maybe had 2 pictures of her like in the witchcraft like thing.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not saying that you can't fully express who you are, but there's a time and place. If you want to put your best foot forward, you want to come, your best dress.
Right.
So if he has a simple request of, just be feminine and just look a certain way, like if he would, I think he probably would not even care if she came in jeans and a nice shirt. I think it's just the fact that he just didn't want her to come exactly like that. I got called to pick me because I said it's a simple respect factor. But man, if you ask a man, oh, please don't come in loungewear, please don't come in pajamas, and he doesn't respect that, opinion that you have, it would have been an issue, right? So what I'm realizing is that it's hard for men to date out here because women don't want to give y'all the simple respect factor of just that. And I can even do the same thing for women as well. Like, I mean, for men, I said this right.
I get what you're saying.
It's the same. Like, we just don't know how to respect each other anymore, right? Women have a request, men have a request. We're not willing to give it to each other. There is no meat in the middle anymore. Women are not willing to compromise because they're saying, I can have it all. I don't really need you. Men are saying, well, if you don't want to give me simple things that I typically ask for, I don't want to be with you, right? So modern dating is starting to get really, really difficult. And it really is. And it's like, I almost want to tell some of my friends that are in relationships, if you with somebody and y'all might be button heads every other few weeks or whatever, figure it out, stick through it, because this dating world out here is so hard. It is really, really hard. And people got a bunch of different Instagram accounts and whatnot for, guys to be hitting them up, giving them money, or like men are over here sleeping with a bunch of other women and they got one woman at home as well. So relationships, that toxicity is it's so ingrained in our culture, like it's praised. So it may seem simple just for you, and I'm happy it's simple for you, but just in reality, in my opinion, it's not as simple.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And I'm gonna make this as quick as possible. It's really it's what's it called? They're like diamonds in a rough. You feel me? You'll find those people, and when you do, you just cannot let them go. And like that's really it. Like, if some people you'll come across, like, and you're just like, I can't believe, like, she's this, she's that, like, she respects me, she want to see me all the time, like, this is the complete woman. Like, where have you been all my life? Like, and when you find that, it's like the best feeling. Like, for me, and I think that's when I say it's simple, because it takes time to find it. Obviously, it takes time to find anything, but it's like you will find that woman that compliments you, like, and you'll find,
But
and
it's so
ladies, you'll find that
uncommon.
man. It's uncommon.
It's uncommon because I hate to say it, a lot of men are starting to say, and I have guy friends, excluding you, that are saying that honestly, I'm getting to the point that I don't even know if I want to get married anymore. It's so
Speak
sad.
for yourself, Kings. I will be married. I will have a big family. Everybody's coming to my house. We having cookouts.
They'll have kids with
But
one woman, but they don't want to get married because it's too much.
I'm getting married, man.
So it's so sad to say that our culture has got so divided where we can't even sit in a room and have like typical conversations.
People are used to the toxic stuff, man. But I mean,
like, here's a question I have for you.
Of course, yep.
We don't praise marriages like Denzel Washington and his wife that just recently, I think in the last couple of weeks, just celebrated their 42nd anniversary. Like Angela Bassett and her husband, that they've been together 42nd. That been together like 30 something years or 40 something years, and I'm pretty sure your parents have been married for over 30 years. 25 years. Like, we don't praise marriages like that. So why do we take the initiative to want to praise relationships like Sweetie and Quavo, or JT and Lil Uzi Vert, or relationships that display so much toxicity?
It's a social media thing. I mean, and that's the thing. I feel like some people are able to be like, oh, this is just internet stuff. These are celebrities. Like, I don't really praise this, and that's that. But then there are some people that do fall into it. So it's really just gonna come from how you're raised, and then um, deciphering and just making that distinction from being real life and being the internet. And once you're able to do that, I mean, pretty much good because I mean, there's people that have been married for years that see this Saweetie and Quavo and JT and Lori Harvey and Futures, and they're like, okay, whatever. Like they're celebrities. They in a fast world. They doing what they doing, but it's not real life. Like at the same time, and I'm able to do that. Like I'm like that's okay. Like that's not real life. Like I know when you can find a rock, like period. So it's like that's whatever.
I'm happy that you're able to do that. It's sad to say that, like, in modern times, that it's praised for like these relationships. Like, they don't last long, but it's the hype around them. And I'm not discrediting, like, there's some relationships. I think Quavo really did love Sweetie. I do believe that maybe JT might really love Lil Uzi Vert. We don't really know what goes on behind the scenes or of those relationships. But when the toxic things happen, we don't call the accountability out on the carpet as a culture, saying that, what you're doing isn't helping us as a Black culture for our relationships. Instead, it's actually hindering us because we're thinking, okay, we can do this with our men. And we don't have millions of dollars like they do. They have millions of dollars. They can get somebody else tomorrow, right? They can go get, somebody from Joe Schmo off the street that's making 60K and build him up or whatnot.
Hey.
Look, like, JT got money. So if she wanted to, she could build up a man if she wanted to. But at the end of the day, we're falling in the idea that that is okay to do with our men that are, blue collar workers. That white collar men typically like that behavior as well, and they don't. So it's just, I wish as a culture we could praise those that have been together through the grind, through it all, for like 40 or plus years, or 30 or plus years, or 25 or plus years, because it's getting to a point in our culture that we can't even make it past 7 years in marriage.
Yeah. I mean that's yeah. And and that's because and also marriage is realistically, and this is what Dr. Umar said, one of my mentors, I would say, somebody I really look up to. Marriage is an economic contract. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I understand nowadays that you can see these different lifestyles and um settling sometimes isn't always the best economic thing to do. Like I get it, people try to say marriage is really about love, but realistically it really is an economic contract at the end of the day. And that's why you don't see a lot of black women marry into white men's families a lot of times. You'll actually see the opposite, sadly. We got black men sometimes marrying with white women, which love who you love. I'm not saying that that's bad or nothing. My point is that marriage is an economic contract, and it's like not a lot of black people are touching that white man's money. When a black woman, white man, that doesn't really happen that often. So it's like marriage now. It's not always about love and all that. It's mainly about that partnership and that building process. And if you don't want that, and I see why some people get out of those marriages, and it's sad, it's a sad reality, but that honestly is the truth. Tell me what you think about that.
I definitely agree. I think that behind the scenes, I for one, coming from a single parent household, a lot of people don't understand the work behind the scenes that needs to be put into a marriage,
Right.
and the financial means. Sometimes if your husband isn't working for a year because he's going to school, things like that, you have to carry the household load until he's able to do so. But then once that business once that is over, the business transaction on his part happened. He's able to propel this household to the next level. He's able to put his financial means to the forefront because he has now the money to do so.
And
But
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I love that you think that way because there's a culture of women who's like, if he's like, don't be with him when he's struggling because when he gets this high, he'll leave you. Like my whole college, like I worked through my whole college, right, and high
Mm-hmm.
school, and I feel like if I didn't put out the money for my ex that I was putting out, she probably wouldn't even been with me because, and I had never, I wasn't investing my money, I wasn't saving my money, like I was literally making sure I could make her as happy as possible, like all through college,
And
like
I think that's what men realize they have to do in
and if
order to keep the woman around. And I'm not
fellas, it
saying
is
that
not smart. Do not do that when you are in these young 20s. Grind for that, and if you find a chick that still love you, that's when you know hold her down. But
I mean, granted, I think there is a time that, you show appreciation to the person that you're definitely dating
yeah,
at the time. Like, you buy them things when you can, but to shower them with, like Gucci bags or Louis bags and things like that, like, I feel like,
vacations.
yeah, like you do that when you can.
Yeah,
And even I'm in a relationship now, and I understand that my significant other, he doesn't have that right now. But I know when it comes to 30s and 40s and maybe marriage, when our marriage, if we do get married, God willing, 20 years from now, he's gonna be able to do so much more that I could have expected him to do in my 20s.
and that's
So I'm aware of that. And anybody that I would date, I wouldn't expect you to be able to take me to Guam or take me to France or things like that. Because if you're doing that now, I could have got something a lot more better in the future.
that's a distinction people are saying. People are like,
Mm.
don't settle for that. Like, go out and live, and go be in this fast life. Don't settle for a person who can't get you this when you want it. And that's I think that's another toxic thing that we deal with in the society. And both sides of the argument are both convincing. So it's like it's hard to say right or wrong, but that's one of the killers in black cultures with long lasting relationships and marriages.
So what do you think? Because I wanna start getting into maybe what is the solution? What is the main solution that you think could be that could help solve a lot of the issues that we see when it comes to toxicity and how we don't like healthiness in a relationship?
This may sound crazy, but I think it's supporting black businesses. I think a lot of those issues are literally from oppression or from discrimination or from policy set up to literally keep black people down and impoverished. Like, literally keep supporting black people, keep supporting black businesses any and every way you can. And the more black people are getting money in their pocket, you're gonna get those bonds because marriage again is an economic contract. And when you can be financially happy with people, like two people are financially happy, I'm not saying you gotta be millionaires, billionaires. I'm not saying that is the only way, but that is a big tool putting money in black people's pockets. Like poverty really, really it breeds low education, low awareness, um, depleted mental health. Like we gotta keep supporting black people and black businesses and black mental health. Like if we continue to do that, like black people are really gonna just like it's gonna be so many partnerships and things in that nature. It's gonna black people will keep going up.
I agree with you, and I'm gonna tag on to that. Not only just support black businesses, I think a solution is really to start having conversations with yourself and having conversation with your family of the generational curses that you see that needs to be broken,
Right.
holding each other accountable, also educating yourselves. I think that is so important that black communities start having educational conversations that they never had before on relationships, on dating, having those conversations that maybe 2 generations ago your great grandparents went through,
Right.
and to get where they are now, those struggles that were done, um really appreciating those sacrifices, and seeing where you want to take your generation forward. Because we're doing things with the hopes of breaking generational curses, but are we really having those in-depth conversations that really are breaking the norm?
Right. Completely
So,
right.
I think that's something, and also just really loving on our black men. I think our black men sometimes feel like we don't appreciate them and feeling undervalued. And I say the same thing for black women. Sometimes black women don't feel appreciated by their men as well. So I think it's important that we just start loving on one another instead of trying to love on other races. Um, and showing support to other races as well. So I think if we can just do that as a culture, I definitely believe we will be okay.
Right. And I'm gonna emphasize it again. When you're supporting black businesses, right? When you're putting money in black people's pockets, you start to have things to lose. When you have nothing to lose, you don't have nothing to live for, right?
Yeah, I
When you have
100% agree.
nothing to lose, or when you have a lot to lose, you start to think and you start to use tools and assets that are only gonna build your empire and partners' empires and people around you's empires. So that's literally why that's like I think supporting black businesses is going to be, and black education is going to be the number one thing to really help marriages and help a lot of this toxic behavior that we see. I think that's it.
I definitely agree with you. Well, I definitely want to thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Of
Where
course.
can they find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Yubes YUBES underscore. Twitter. Just find me on Instagram first, and then maybe we'll talk about Twitter. But yeah,
Where can
and
they find your app at?
we're gonna leave a link for joining our wait list. But if you want to check out the app, it's SecurT app.
Do they have an Instagram page or
That is
anything?
our Instagram and Twitter handle. It's at SecurT app, SECURT app APP. And our website is securt.co. So SECURT.co. Please join our wait list. And Joy, it's been a pleasure being on your podcast. I hope to bring you back in a few years from now when we big balling and
Oh, of course, she'll be back. I'm not worried about that.
we out here. Yep.
But thank you guys for tuning in to today's podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely go check out Ayyub and everything he has going on. And be well, be great, guys. And till we see you again, have a good rest of your day.
Use your 9 to 5s to support your big dreams. Take
Of
care.
course. Of course. Bye, guys.